Hi everyone, it's Granny. How's everybody doing today? Hope you're all having a great day and a great week. Today we are going to discuss the infamous Alex Murdaugh, Richard Alexander Murdaugh. Excuse me. So lots to talk about with Alec because this is such a complex case. Lots came into the trial, the 6-week trial. Um, that there's been speculation shouldn't maybe have come in, some of it. But anyway, let's get started. The Murdaugh family, Alex's family, of course, he is the father. Maggie Murdaugh, 52, is the mother. Buster Murdaugh is 26. Paul Murdaugh is 22. And on June 7th, 2021, Maggie and Paul were found unalived. They were found by Alec at their um, hunting property called Moselle in Hampton County. They were unalived with 2 separate weapons, and Alec stated that, he came home around 10. He had tried to call, tried to text, I don't know. Anyway, he drove down there and saw them, and he called 911. His alibi with the court was that they all had dinner together. They had done, him and Buster had rode around during the day, and then they had dinner together, after which Maggie and Paul wanted to go down to the kennels. Maggie loved the dogs, and Paul um, was concerned about one of the dogs there. It was one of his friend's dogs, and he was concerned about his tail. And so Alex stated that they went down to the kennels. He stayed home on the couch and was looking at his phone, and then, watching TV, and then fell asleep. And then he woke up and he tried to reach Maggie and didn't get an answer, so he went to visit his mom. After he visited his mom, that was somewhere around 9 o'clock. After he visited his mom, he came back home, tried to reach Maggie, didn't reach her. He saw lights down at the kennels and went down there and saw them both unalived near the kennels. So he wasn't charged for over a year for this crime. As I stated, he filed an alibi with the court, but in the meantime, there was a lot of things going on. But before we get there, the Murdaugh family was a prominent family in Hampton, South Carolina, Hampton County. 3 generations of Murdaughs had held state prosecution positions in Hampton County for more than a century. So his dad, his grandpa, his great grandpa. There was even a picture of, I believe, his great grandpa in the courtroom that they had to remove before his trial. They didn't want it to cause issues. Um, Alec himself was a lawyer and a part-time prosecutor. He never sought the full-time prosecutor position. He also claimed he had an opioid addiction in which he spent thousands of dollars, and it stated it caused him to steal money from his clients and his law firm. The day of the murders, Alec was confronted by his law firm in regards to all the money that he stole. So he had that pressure on him. The state tried to say, and there were 99 plus financial crimes that he had committed. Okay. So when they decided that they were going to charge Alec for um, this tragedy with his wife and son, that's what the state decided to use was all the things that was coming up. Not only did we have the financial crimes, and he had his opioid addiction, which was costing money. Um, his son Paul was involved in a boat accident in 2019, where 19-year-old Mallory Beach was lost her life. And Paul was underage. He was 19 years old, and he was under the influence. Um, Within weeks of the crash, Mallory Beach's mother filed civil suits. She filed one against a convenience store that sold Paul the liquor. She filed against Buster Murdaugh, whose ID Paul used to purchase the liquor. And she also filed against Alec, who owned the boat. Um, Not only that, but his um, housekeeper had passed away in, gosh, I don't remember the date, but her name was Gloria Satterfield, and she had taken a bad fall, and Maggie called Alec to the house, and he got there pretty quickly from what I heard. And he talked to Gloria before the ambulance got there, and she told him that the dogs tripped her, and that's how she fell. She was hurt critically, and she ended up dying a couple weeks later in the hospital. After which, Alec told her boys, she had two boys, that he would, let's go ahead, file a lawsuit against himself, um, and he would get them some money to take care of them. He would get them taken care of. Well, he did. He won, and he kept all the money. And the oldest son was calling him every now and again, saying, what's going on with the case? What's going on with the case? So there was that pressure on Alec as well. Um, there was also, in June 22nd, authorities reopened a probe into the death of Stephen Smith, who was 19 years old. He was found dead in the middle of the road near the Moselle property. And it was speculated that Stephen and Buster had gone to school together. And it was speculated that they had a relationship. Either way, the Murdaugh name was brought into this situation. So you have that going on. You have the Gloria Satterfield going on. You have the 99 plus financial crimes going on. And then not only that, but I want to say in um, September 4th of 2021, Alec called 911 stating he had been shot. Well, it turns out he had asked his cousin Eddie Smith to do this so that his oldest son could receive $10 million life insurance policy. Okay, so um, he ended up, I guess Eddie told the truth, and then uh, because he couldn't do it, Alex only had a graze along his temple or something. A bullet just grazed his head. Um, so he wasn't killed like he thought he would be. It's terrible. I shouldn't laugh, but how weird can this case get, right? How much more weird can this case get? But so he ended up telling the truth about that. And on September 3rd, Alex had resigned from his law firm. September 6th, he entered rehab. September 8th, Alex's law license was suspended. September 13th, The South Carolina Law Enforcement Division investigates missing money, the 99 plus financial crimes. September 15th, police open a criminal investigation to his housekeeper Gloria Satterfield's death. And um, I mean, you know, what's going on here? So this is what the state was trying to say, that all these things were coming at Alec, and that is why, um, 2 years later, it all came out as to why he committed these crimes, right? So the judge allowed the financial crimes to come in, which we're kind of surprised about because there was no real, I don't know, motive for this crime, um, other than the fact that he had opioid addiction, he was spending lots of money that he didn't have, he was basically broke. He had stolen from his clients and from his law firm. He was basically at this point borrowing money from Peter to pay Paul. That's why he kept the money, Gloria Satterfield's sons. And then he had this Paul issue with the boat. And I don't know if he thought that by unaliving Paul, he'd make that go away. I'm not sure. Um, I mean, so this is what the state was trying to say. But on March 2nd, the jury went back to deliberate, and within 3 hours they came back and they found him guilty. And on March 3rd, the judge gave him 2 consecutive life sentences for the crimes against his wife and son. So, of course, an appeal has been filed. Um, during the trial, Alex did get up to testify on his behalf. Now, remember when I said that he had given an alibi? He had an alibi with the court as to what he did. Now, remember, he said he didn't go to the kennels, okay? That he stayed home, he took a nap, and then went to see his mom. Well, minutes before this crime happened against Maggie and Paul, minutes, Paul had taken a Snapchat video to share with his friend. He was taking a picture, he was taking a video of his friend's dog trying to show him his tail. Of course, the dog wasn't um, cooperating much whenever you try to grab a dog's tail, right? They're not going to stand there and let you hold it. And it was on the underside of the tail that there was this issue. But in the meantime, while he was trying to do this, friends, relatives, whatever, had gotten up on the stand because the prosecution said, whose voices do you hear on this video? There were three. There was Paul, Maggie, you could hear Maggie, and Alec. Well, how was Alec voice on that video if he wasn't down there at the kennels with his wife and son? Remember, that was his alibi. So he got up onto the stand and he admitted that he lied about being at the kennels just before the murders. And to hear the jurors tell this afterwards, um, after everything was all said and done, the jurors stated that that's what cinched it for them. He was there minutes before this tragedy happened. And so that's why they found him guilty. Um, when Alec talked to the court at his sentencing, he admitted that he stated that he would never hurt his wife or his son, that he never did this. And so they have an appeal. Um, it's hard to know how that'll go because their appeals are pretty tough. But you had the financial crimes that were allowed in that maybe, was iffy, right? And then, but then we also hear that when the defendant takes a stand in his own defense, it's pretty rare that they'll get an appeal, that they'll win the appeal. So we don't know how that's going to go. We'll um, see what happens. And of course, I'm going to cover it from Granny's perspective. And there's a lot more that's going to come out about this case, a real lot more that's going to come out since we have um, Gloria Satterfield's body is being exhumed, Stephen Smith's body is being exhumed, and the case, those cases are, you know, reopened. So then you've got the voting case, which isn't done yet, and the 99 plus financial crimes. Now, of course, Alec is considered, oh, and then we can't forget the Stephen Smith case as well. Now, Alec may not have anything to do with that case. It may mostly be Buster, unless he insinuated himself into that case somewhere that we are not aware of at this point in time. Don't think Alec's involved in that case, but it's still part of his family. So there's a lot going on, and we will we will stay in touch and remember that he is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, even on the financial crimes, even though he admitted to them on the stand in this trial. However, in that case, in the financial crimes case, he is innocent until proven guilty. So, so all right. I think we'll be doing lots of lives regarding Alex Murdaugh. Might be the easiest way to um, to discuss those, and I think probably the more fun way that we can get involved together and discuss them. But anyway, I will see you guys on the next one. Have a great day and a great week.